To say that the San Francisco 49ers had a tumultuous offseason, well, that's an understatement. It might have been the worst in NFL history. To go from possible Super Bowl contender to one of the worst in the NFC, it's got to be a bitter, bitter, bitter pill to swallow. The 49ers and Seattle Seahawks, they were supposed to be part of this great 10-year rivalry. Not anymore. Once management let Jim Harbaugh walk and take the head coaching job with Michigan, a mass exodus of important players followed. First with the free agents, running back Frank Gore, guard Mike Iupati, wide receiver Michael Crabtree, and cornerbacks Chris Culliver and Parrish Cox, gone. Then the unexpected retirements of linebackers Patrick Willis and Chris Borland, also to go with tackle Anthony Davis. Defensive tackle Justin Smith's retirement wasn't so unexpected. But all those guys, bye. Then there's the Aldon Smith fiasco. See you later. That's 10 of 22 starters washed out. So where do you go from here? But let's go back to Harbaugh for a second. I don't care how much of a prick he was. You don't let a guy who took your team to 3 straight NFC Championship games at one point and have a 49-22-1 career mark, that includes the postseason, you can't let a guy like that just leave. I don't care if they were 8-8 last year. I don't care about all the backstage shenanigans behind the scenes. You got to make it work. And to replace him with Jim freaking Tom Sula, just head-scratching to me. I also didn't even bring up the coordinators, who are gone too. The architect of that blanketing defense over the years, Vic Fangio, is now the defensive coordinator in Chicago, while offensive coordinator Greg Roman is now in Buffalo at the same post. These were 2 of the better, coordinators in the game. Bye to them too. I remember the Niners, playing the Arizona Cardinals last year and watching Kaepernick and shotgun, empty five wide receiver sets. And I was just like scratching my head. I'm like, what are they doing? One of the biggest problems last season was that decision to stray away from that power running attack, which brought you to all those NFC Championship games in the first place. They went spread passing attack last year. It was the first time in Harbaugh's 4 seasons where the team threw the ball more than it ran, 487 to 470. Well, that plan clearly backfired. San Francisco went from 11th in scoring in 2013 to 25th, averaging a measly 19.1 points per game. And the passing offense stayed 30th, exactly where they were in 2013. Colin Kaepernick's passer rating fell from 91.6 to 86.4. It was just a mess all the way around. The crazy part was the Niners still finished 4th in rushing at 136 yards per game. So why in the hell didn't they stick to it? I don't get it, man. There are some positives to look forward to. NaVorro Bowman returns following his ACL tear in the 2013 NFC Championship game against the Seahawks. Torrey Smith was brought in via free agency, and there's no way that Vernon Davis can be any worse than he was last season. So before I go position by position, I've got all the unit rankings below. I've got all the player rankings in the description box. So make sure you click on that. And, I'm sure I'm going to get heat from Niners fans because I don't think they're going to be very good this season. So if you guys think they're going to be, all right, somewhat decent, debate with me in the comment section below. All right, position by position we go now. I'm not going to lie. I might have been wrong about Colin Kaepernick. I was like 100% sold on him during his Super Bowl run in 2012. I remember Ron Jaworski saying that he was going to be one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. There's still time for him, to be that good and to reach that plateau. But I thought he was on the verge of superstardom, but the reality is he's kind of just average. He has a powerful arm, throws the hardest ball in the league. His mobility is deceptive. He has those long strides, which makes him look slower than he actually is. But when the Niners attempted to make him into more of a pocket passer last year, he struggled big time, and he averaged just 7 yards a pass attempt. He also took a league-high 52 sacks and did run for a career-high 639 yards. Blaine Gabbert will back up Kaepernick once again. Second-year pro Carlos Hyde is expected to break out this year in his first year replacing the reliable Gore. Apparently, Hyde has dropped a couple pounds in the offseason in an attempt to be a little bit more elusive. From what I've seen, he also needs to exhibit a little bit more patience. He'll see most of the carries on first and second down, while Reggie Bush will be out there in the mix on third down. He's always been one of the better receivers out in the backfield. He saw his role reduced more and more as the season went along last year in Detroit. Kendall should get some touches too when he gets off the PUP list. He returns from an ACL tear and averaged 4.6 yards a tote in 2013. The 35-year-old Anquan Boldin has shown no signs of slowing down. He surpassed the 1,000-yard receiving mark for the 7th time in his 12 seasons in the league. He has such a great ability to haul in passes in traffic. While Boldin will work the crossing patterns and a lot of the underneath stuff, Smith will provide the threat downfield. It's 2012 Baltimore all over again. He's a speedster who runs good routes and is tough to bring down after the catch. He's the Ravens franchise leader in yards per catch at 16.9. Boldin and Smith back together again. Crazy stuff. The two guys that turned a lot of heads in camp in the preseason were Jerome Simpson, an undrafted free agent, and Alabama wide receiver DeAndrew White. Simpson was obviously, he's always been talented, but there never seems to be, a consistency of him staying on the field because he's got, all the shenanigans, and, it happened again this year. He's suspended for the first 6 games. White's been making a lot of circus catches, and, he might be the biggest surprise for the Niners. Quinton Patton and Bruce Ellington are other options in, the receiving corps. Anthony Davis was hindered by ankle problems and back spasms, or not Anthony Davis, Vernon Davis was hindered by ankle problems and back spasms last season. He caught just 26 balls and 2 touchdowns. He snagged 13 scores just 2 years ago. His measurables and rare athleticism have always made him unique, so we'll see if he can bounce back. I'm also really curious how Blake Bell's career turns out. He's not the backup or even the third fiddle, but, It's going to be a lot to ask for production this season, but the quarterback turned tight end was solid after, the catch at Oklahoma when he actually switched positions. The offensive line is coming off a down year and has lost 2 key cogs in Yapati and Davis. I'd still say it's in the top half of the offensive line units, and it starts with Joe Staley, who might be the most underrated left tackle in the league. I don't hear too many people call him elite, but he's up there. I've got him in my top 5 in my tackle rankings. For the first time in 3 years, Staley wasn't an All-Pro last season, but he was still good enough to earn his 4th straight Pro Bowl nod. He did struggle a bit in pass protection last year, but he's also a guy that needs to hold his blocks longer due to the scrambling nature of Kaepernick at quarterback. At 6'5", 315, Staley's quick for a man his size and uses it to his advantage when the 49ers move the pocket for the mobile Kaepernick. As a run blocker, he's powerful at the point of attack. He's strong enough to close down and seal the edge. He also uses that quickness in space. San Francisco like to pull and trap him from the tackle spot. Alongside Staley will be left guard Alex Boone, who started really slow and then came on before suffering a torn meniscus in late December. Center Daniel Kilgore really impressed me before fracturing his left ankle in Week 7, ending his season. He's had a setback with his ankle, however, and is currently on the PUP list. Marcus Martin filled in for him at center after he got hurt and is slated to be the starting center on the depth chart while he recovers. Erik Pears will take over Davis's vacancy at right tackle, and Jordan Devey is the right guard. 15th overall selection, Erik Armstead is the 3-4 defensive end in the future, but I think the 49ers will bring him along slowly, and Glenn Dorsey will start the season at left defensive end. Dorsey underachieved after being a top 5 pick in Kansas City, but has fared much better in San Francisco. Ian Williams is an underrated nose tackle, performs well when healthy, but has had major knee injuries the last few seasons. Quinton Dials appears to be the 3rd starter on the defensive line. I was a bit surprised that the team cut Darnell Dockett. I know he's up there in age now, but I don't know. I thought they could have used him. The retirements of Borland and Willis during the offseason were devastating, but if Bowman can copy his unbelievable 2013 campaign after missing all of last season with a torn ACL, it should soften the blow. Prior to the injury, Bowman was as athletic and instinctive linebacker as there is. He's a great inside blitzer and at chasing running backs down sideline to sideline. he might be the most ferocious hitting linebacker in the league as well. Very smooth in coverage, quick in space. He can turn and run, change direction to cut off underneath routes. Michael Wilhoit will most likely start alongside Bowman. He replaced him last year, was a short tackler despite not possessing a lot of speed. Good instincts too. Shane Scove and Nick Ballore will rotate in at inside linebacker. I'm not really sure what's going to happen with Ahmad Brooks after that, report involving he and Ray McDonald, but if he is out for an extended period of time, I believe that Aaron Lynch can fill in just fine. In fact, I think Lynch might actually be better than him. He's long arm, put up 6 sacks last season, the same number as Brooks. Corey Lemonnier has the task of replacing Smith, at least to start, but it'll be third-round rookie Eli Harold's job in the future. Harold gets a lot of pressure on the quarterback, but needs to work and run support. I like Tremaine Brock among the cornerbacks on the Niners, but not much else. He played really, really well 2 years ago, totaling 5 interceptions, but battled injuries a year ago. Sharice Wright came in to replace Culliver, but honestly, I think Wright stinks. I don't think he's any good at all. He had a really rough year last year with San Diego. He's a pretty big downgrade. He drew 8 pass interference penalties last year, the most in the league. In fact, 2014 6th-rounder Kenneth Acker is ahead of him on the depth chart. Dante Johnson is another option at cornerback. I do like the safeties. Antoine Bethea is coming off an outstanding season. He was fantastic in coverage. Former first-round pick Eric Reed will start alongside him. He's a hard hitter and a good tackler, but wasn't as good last year as he was during his rookie year. Jimmy Ward was last year's first-rounder, but he's going to be, most likely be the nickel corner. The team drafted Jaquiski Tart in the 2nd round and will provide depth. Phil Dawson enters his 17th season in the league, while 5th-rounder Bradley Pinion will handle the punting duties after Andy Lee was traded in the offseason. DeAndrew White will return kicks, and Jared Hayne the punts. I would have thought Reggie Bush would get some return duties. All right, so prediction time. You Niners fans aren't going to like me. I got them going 4-12. I think they're horrible this year. I think they're really, really bad. A lot of turnover, a new coach that I'm just not believing in. I really think it's going to be a tough year. I really do. And I have the Niners as my worst team in the NFC. So if you guys don't agree with me, like I said earlier, comment in the comment section, debate me. But yeah, I hate the secondary. Well, at least the cornerbacks. I don't know. Just shouldn't have gotten rid of Harbaugh. That's all I got to say. Make sure you follow us on Twitter @TheBitterBirds. I'm Adrian Fedq. I'm out of here. Later.